Hindsight is fleeting when your heart's bleeding and all you can see is red. Till you discover it is within each other to forgive and make amends. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have said what I said. I took the long road, thought I'd be better on my own. Sometimes what's right is wrong instead. 'Cause I was too young and I didn't understand that you were the one. And I can't wait to see you again. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. 'Cause I was too young and I didn't understand that you were the one. And I can't wait to see you
As I wake up every morning, I wish the day would end. Because a day without you in my life, I don't know how to mend. And I was like, eh, 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 oh, 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 oh. You were like, eh, 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 no, oh, no, oh. I was like, eh, 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 oh, 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 oh. You were like, eh, 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 no, oh, no, oh. Come on, let's rewind till I smile. That look upon your face. My heart is empty and unguided. I'm blind leading chase. Thought I had a plan with you and me. Was the villain of my own dream, breaking me down to my knees. I look right at the mirror, wondering if I'll be okay. My head is telling me nothing, it's got nothing left to say. And I was like, eh, 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 oh, 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 oh. You were like, eh, 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 no, oh, no, oh. I was like, eh, 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 oh, 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 oh. You were like, eh, 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 no, oh, no, oh. Come on, let's rewind till I smile. That look upon your face. My heart is empty and unguided. I'm blind leading chase. Thought I had a plan with you and me. Was the villain of my own dream, breaking me down to my knees.
does. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show.
Hello. Ah, there it is. Yes. Ah. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome, all you beautiful people. It is good to see you. Glad you're here tonight. Hope you're ready to have some good Jesus-loving time. Before Rob plays and use his beautiful angelic voice for us, we got two announcements for you guys before we dive in. The first one is we are doing a monthly high school event. That's going to be head up by Amy and Christy, Amy Hellison and Christy Guthrie. This month, and we're calling these events overflow events. Keeping with like the dive, overflow, it's a water thing. Like, you get it? It's okay, all right. So it's going to be a monthly overflow event. This month, on the 19th, we are going to be doing tubing on Duck River. The form is online. If you go to the Wellspring website, it's also been emailed to you guys, the form to be able to sign up. It's $20. You have to sign up by September 17th so they know how many to prepare for and all that stuff. But yeah, on the 19th, we'll be tubing on Duck River. We'll basically tell you each month what the new event's going to be, so be on the lookout for that. The second thing, for you high school females, they are a new life group, or a life group, I shouldn't say new. Life group is opening up for the high school females. The first one is this Sunday, September 13th at 4 o'clock at Amy's house. So if you're a high school girl, you're interested in a life group, it's at 4 o'clock. I'm at Amy Huddleston's house. Again, everything's been sent to you by email, been sent to your parents by email, but we want to keep that in front of you, okay? Very cool. Hey, you want to sing some songs? All right, let's do that.
Oh, hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. How we doing? You guys all right? You guys doing well? How was your Labor Day weekend? Yeah? All right, turn to the person to your left and tell them what you did for Labor Day. Go. Now turn to the person to your right and tell them what you're going to do for the next Labor Day. All right, get those hands together. Come on. I was buried beneath my shame. Who can carry that kind of weight? It was my turn till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my turn, oh, till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You glorious day. Sing, now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, sing it out. The old made new. Jesus, when I met you, oh, what a name, when you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Sing, I needed rescue. I needed rescue. My sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was an orphan. Now you called me citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future. My eyes are open. 'Cause when you called my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, oh, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Hey! You guys sound good tonight, you know that? Did you know that? That's not a cheer, I'm just asking you. It's a yes or no. Well, you do. Hey, we're about to sing a song I love. You guys have heard it a ton. It's Reckless Love. It's not a secret. But I love this song. And it has a very special place for me. It came out when I was in college, and I was doing some worship stuff with the local church, and there was some stuff going on in some of those students and in myself that was just really hard at the time. Things that we didn't see coming, things that were out of our control. Since we're all living in 2020, you guys can probably relate to that in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's something that 2020 caused, like with COVID or with school or whatever, or maybe there's just something going on in your life, something that you're dealing with, some struggle you have, some trauma you're facing. And if you're like me, then music is a really, really, really special way that you kind of cope with that. And if you're not, maybe it's just words, and it's somebody telling you about what Jesus has done, or it's scripture telling you what Jesus has done. So whether it's singing along with this, or listening to it, or reading the words on the screen for yourself, I want to invite you to join me in these lyrics, because it talks about exactly what Jesus has done, that he has chased us down. Not that he has chased us down, that he is constantly chasing us down, no matter what situation you're in. So I invite you, let's worship together a little more. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, You breathed your life in me, and you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah, yeah. Sing, when I was your foe. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. And you have been so, so good to me. And I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. And you have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. Ooh. Oh. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. So what is that for you tonight? What is the wall you need Jesus to kick down? What is something in your life that is separating you and His love? What is something out of your control that you can do nothing about except for turn to Jesus? What is that? The shadow in your life you need Him to light up. I want to invite you guys for the next few moments, it won't be very long, say a prayer for that thing. Say a prayer for the area of your life where you know you need Jesus to intervene, to act in on your behalf. Take a few moments. You can pray out loud. I know it's kind of weird, but I'm always the kind of guy that needs to say something out loud for it to stick. So pray to yourself, pray out loud, just a few moments. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be a novel. Just express to the Lord what you need Him to do in your life tonight. Take a few moments. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Sing that out right now. There's no shadow you won't light up. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, there's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. You guys can go ahead and be seated.
Hey, everyone. Hi. Let's pray real quick. Mighty King, we thank you for this night. We thank you for this time to be able to come together, to have some fun, and to worship you. We ask that you work in our hearts and our minds, our souls. The poops we just had. To become more like you. Let us leave today different than how we came in. It's in your name, amen. Don't you hate it when life seems unfair? So for example, if any of you have like siblings, and it feels like they get by with everything, and then you kind of get like the crappy end of the deal. Like you get blamed for something that they do, or like, you know, they don't do their laundry, but you do, and then you're the one who gets yelled at about it, those kind of things. Or like you're put in control of a vehicle, or and you are the one who takes care of it, you're the one who puts gas in it, but yet you're the one who's being told to go all over the place for your siblings or for your parents or whatever, and it just doesn't feel right. Or and this was a big one in our household. It's still like a little bit of a tender spot. Like when you're doing homework or studying for a test and you are working insanely hard to get the grade that you get, and then here comes like, I don't know, let's call him Joe. Joe seems like a jerk name. Joe comes in, he hasn't studied at all, and he gets a better grade than you. Have you ever had that happen? Yeah. That's oh gosh, that was Amanda and I in college. Like she would just study out the wazoo, go, 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 like just crank it out. And she would get like a B and I would just show up, like just woke up, sit down, write some things, and I'd get an A. Yeah, it's special. You know, we all have spiritual gifts. You know, some of them are, you know, to crap things and do great. Actually, funny story, if you really want to make Amanda, like if you want to see like the flare in her eyes, ask her about me getting a better grade than her in our speech class. That's a fun one. That's a good story. But yeah, so sometimes life is unfair. Sometimes it feels like we're really kind of getting the crap end of the deal. And it just doesn't feel good, does it? And I know for me, I feel that way, especially whenever I'm starting to like look at social media. And I start scrolling through and I start seeing people who seem to be doing a lot better than I am. And I start kind of getting that jealous streak. So maybe like someone who is currently on a vacation that you wish you were on. So for instance, right now I have like 3 of my friends who are currently in Disney World. And here I sit. So anyway. But maybe that's what you've seen. Maybe you've experienced that. Maybe you've seen people that like it looks like they really have their life together when you're scrolling through social media. Maybe it looks like they're going to a concert that you wish you'd go to, or like maybe even you're seeing this happy family photo and you know your family is kind of tore apart right now. And it's really it's really easy to look on social media, take like a quick glimpse at something and go from like the best attitude in the world. And like in 2 seconds, you go from, woo, to, oh, I wish I was that way, or I wish I had that life, or I wish I was on that trip. It takes like 10 seconds for that to happen. And as you go through it, you start noticing like he got the newest this, or her life is so much better than mine. And you know what I'm talking about, those kind of things. And it just doesn't seem fair. And you know this already. In addition to kind of feeling miserable, when we do this, we start to assume that other people have the perfect life. And we look at what they put online, and then we match it up with what we know is true about our own current reality. And when we do that, we start to think that their life looks better, that they look better. And eventually we kind of recognize this familiar reality. You start to think that their life is greater than my life, that their life is greater than your life. And we feel less than, and when we feel less than, we typically respond in one of 3 ways. The first one is we like to overachieve. If we feel less than, we just go 100 miles per hour all in into the thing we feel less than in, just trying to crank out the best result as possible. And we tire ourselves out trying to measure up to that standard that they put on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever social media. Or we go the opposite direction and we do nothing. We just give up. Oh, I'm never going to be that good. I'm never going to have that kind of family. Or I'm never going to look that beautiful. The third option is we just kind of play it over and over and over again in our heads, that we dwell on it, that we actually tire ourselves out. We build up the anxiety, we build up the nervousness, and we just constantly go in and go and go and go in our minds until we wear ourselves out. But no matter how we respond, the result's always the same. We feel cruddy. See, that's what comparison does. See, here's the tricky thing about comparing our life to someone else's. We know ourselves way too well. We know and live the good, the bad, the happy, and the sad. And we know that places like social media are designed to display the highlights of life, just the good stuff. That's why we do everything we can to make sure that others see the highlights of our own lives. We're not going to post the fight we just had. We're not going to post the anxieties we deal with. We're not going to post all these terrible things, but we will spend minutes trying to take the best picture of our best life. We've all perfected the art of projecting the life we want others to think we have, even if it doesn't match the life we actually have. I'm going to say that one again. We've all perfected the art of projecting the life we want others to think we have, even if it doesn't match the life we actually have. But here's the crazy thing. We forget that everyone else is doing the same. They're posting their best life, not their real one. But somehow our brains trick us into believing that their highlights are the whole story. So let me say it another way. When we compare ourselves to others, especially on social media, we believe things about ourselves based on someone else's half-truth or fully fake display. Comparison has become such a norm in our culture that most of us don't even realize we're doing it. The good news is that we're going to talk about this for the next few minutes, and it'll help us recognize when we're doing it, but it'll also help us understand what to do about it. In a world full of social media, this may seem impossible and totally unrealistic, but if you hang out with me just for a little bit, I think we can be surprised at what is actually possible. So tonight we're going to hear from a guy named Paul. Paul is a major follower of Jesus. He's written most of the New Testament. He is the guy, if you want to know more about Jesus, about how to live the Christian life, you look him up. He spent the majority of his life I shouldn't say the majority. He spent the later half of his life convincing others to follow Jesus, to show them the path, to show them the way. And when he couldn't actually be there for them, he would write them letters. He would make sure they were okay and send letters with teachings. And there comes a time where when he writes one of these letters, and some of the people in the church who he's writing to are starting to feel a little called out. That they say, hey, he's talking about me and I don't like it. And so what they did was they ended up lashing out. They ended up talking bad about Paul. They ended up telling about how bad he is and how his teaching is stupid and he's stupid and all this stuff. And so Paul ultimately ends up writing back about this situation. So here's what he says about his criticizers in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 12. He says, "Oh, don't worry. We wouldn't dare say that we are as wonderful as these other men who tell you how important they are, but they are comparing themselves with each other, using themselves as the standard of measurement. How ignorant." Yes, sarcasm exists in the Bible. I love that. So Paul fights back at his critics. He wasn't messing around, and in this passage, he's addressing that comparing is going on among people and the struggle that it's creating. So Paul is saying, in no uncertain terms, that it's absolutely ridiculous to let your behavior in life be based on a comparison to someone else's behavior or life. And it's even more ridiculous to spend time figuring out how you measure up to people just like you in order to make yourself look better. If I were to sum this up, Paul is saying, hey, look, comparison for any human to another is an ignorant idea and it makes you look stupid. See, there's also a principle found in Proverbs. In the Old Testament of the Bible, Solomon writes in Proverbs 4:23, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Solomon, the man who wrote this principle, was passionate about how important it is to guard our hearts. Why? Because what we do almost always comes from what we believe in our own hearts. Our hearts matter because they control everything else, so we should guard our hearts. The opposite, one of the quickest ways to destroy your heart, is comparison. If we see a post about how great someone else's life is and we allow it to get into our hearts to mess with what we believe about ourselves, we are in danger. If it makes us feel less than or worthless, it's like an attack on the heart that can ultimately mess with our whole lives. That's why we have to get this right. Do not compare your worth with their posts. Do not compare your worth with what you see on their social media. Don't look at someone else, assume that their life is perfect, and conclude that your life is no good, because in that moment, it doesn't look like theirs. Or don't make a decision about how you look or don't look based on someone else's picture. A picture that was most likely taken 30 times, filtered, face-tuned, and edited. Don't make decisions about your worth based on what you see or perceive in other people. Which sounds great, but how do we actually fight the temptation to allow comparison to rule our lives? How do we guard our hearts, like Solomon wisely suggested? It may not be easy, but it starts with the very word that Solomon used: guard. Set some boundaries for what you see and what you allow your heart to participate in. If something messes with you or destroys how you feel or gets in your heart in a bad way, pay attention to that feeling and step in to give yourself a break. You guard your heart when you guard your Instagram, when you pay attention to how it feels when you see someone else's life. Guard your Snapchat, guard your TikTok, guard your scroll, guard your thoughts when you are watching the likes roll in or not roll in fast enough. Guard your comments, guard who you follow. Guard yourself when you interact with others who make you feel less. And guard who you spend time with who constantly complains about their own life. When you find yourself in a situation, whether it's on social media or even in real life, where you are more likely to compare yourself to others, be on guard. Pay attention. Something is trying to get into your heart, and you need to set a boundary there. So much of this can be tough to notice in the moment. That's why being on guard can be helpful. Pay attention to what you do when you feel yourself spiraling into the comparison game. Maybe you find yourself overachieving and striving for attention for others, or maybe you find yourself feeling so deflated that you wonder, why do I even try? Or maybe you find yourself playing the images or words over and over and over again in your mind. When these things happen, pay attention. That's your clue that you're stuck in a game of comparison. So when you get there, ask yourself these questions. What things are fueling how I feel? When I see something, when I start comparing, what is fueling how I feel in that moment? The next question you want to ask is, what are some of the things I want to do because of how I feel? Evaluate the actions that you initially want to take when you see something you're comparing yourself to. And finally, what or who am I comparing myself to that's bringing up these feelings? Question who it's coming from. If you know someone is poison, and you see that their Instagram or their social media is posting this great stuff, obviously the source isn't the right source to be comparing yourself to. So question who or what are bringing these things up. We guard our hearts by paying attention to what we feel when we're tempted to play the comparison game. This may seem like a really big task. That's why we're going to head into small group now to talk about what it looks like for you in your life to guard your heart and stop the comparison game. So what? So what? What do we do with this? What does it mean to you? How to become better Christians because of it? These are all really good questions that we'll talk about in small groups. See you in a bit.